4, 3, 2, 1. Good morning, everybody. A very warm welcome, and a very warm welcome to Dee Hutchinson. Hi, Dee.
Hello, everybody. How's it going?
Dee is our awesome coach who's on line today to talk to us about conquering our fears on Facebook. Now, you guys might wonder why I've invited Dee along to this, and I've just taken part in Dee's detox program, which is absolutely phenomenal. It's not just about conquering fears, it's about conquering all kinds of inner demons and limiting self-beliefs and self-sabotage. And I know I've spoken to a few of you before about my absolutely horrific first experience at Facebook Live. I will never ever forget that first 3-second countdown when the sweat was running off my head, my palms were clammy, I sounded like Larry the Lamb, and it just went from bad to worse. I was gurning through the experience, and that experience actually put me off for a very long time. And it's only really now, after practicing, and more so since coaching with Dee, that I've worked out why it was a problem, and I'm now doing it. And in fact, I'm doing it so well that I've now had speaking requests. One came in this morning, well, not so much speaking requests, but interview request for a online site called Career Shifters, which has an audience of 90,000 to talk to people about running their businesses from overseas. And I will also be speaking at a large conference in January, which I can't tell you too much about yet, but it's an online conference with a very large audience in my target market. So I wanted to bring Dee in because the wisdom she shared with me made a massive difference. So Dee, why do you think, or why is it that so many people fear going live on Facebook?
Well, one, congratulations on all your requests. Super pro expert star. There are so many fears. Actually, the list is endless. I mean, there are some of the top 3, I would say, is fear of rejection. So that shows up in, what will people think about me? What are they going to say? What if they don't like it? What if they judge me? So that whole being rejected by your audience or your peers or your family, whoever these people are. There's the imposter syndrome, which you mentioned. So that fear of, what if I get found out? People are going to discover I don't know everything and I'm not perfect, and that can't happen. So I'm going to stay exactly where I am. You have fear of public speaking, which is actually the #1 fear worldwide, because public speaking actually leverages multiple fears. You have fear of rejection, you're in front of big audiences. You have fear of failure, because what if I stutter when I'm speaking? You have the whole imposter syndrome. What if I get asked a question and I can't answer it? So public speaking, whether it be on a stage or a Facebook Live, actually accesses multiple fears that we might be carrying with us. So those would be the 3 most common ones I come across.
And if people are facing fear, and I know that I certainly did, in fact, I put it off and procrastinated for such a long time, and I could have been having these successes well over 12 months ago from when I first did my first broadcast. What is the first thing that they could possibly do, or what's the first thing that they could do or think about or ask themselves when it comes to conquering that fear?
I think the first thing is to identify the fear that you have. Like, fear in general, it's not like we're going around terrified or shaking or rocking back and forth in a corner. Most of the time, it's optional. You can certainly choose to do that. I'm not recommending it. But more often than not, we don't even realize that the feelings that we have are linked to a fear. The fear isn't always very obvious, because you might actually describe it, and it would be interesting to hear from people, how they feel. It'd be, look, I just feel nervous, or I'm getting sweaty palms, or I'm worried a little bit about how I'll be perceived. And those are sort of the limiting beliefs or worries. The key thing is to identify, well, what am I really scared of? Because once you identify what you're scared of, then you can do something about it. So what are you really worried about? What's the worst that could happen is the great first question to ask yourself. And then after that, look for evidence or fact to show that the fear is valid. And more often than not, it isn't. The best example of that, and I'll use my personal experience when I first did my Facebook Live, it was, I'm worried that people are going to think I have a big head and I'm full of myself because I'm putting myself on video. That was what I felt. I really felt it. I was worried about being judged and being considered to be really full of myself, which couldn't be further from the truth in the person that I am. And when I thought about it, I was like, well, who exactly am I worried about? Like, what's the name of this? Who are these people that would be so mean? And I couldn't name anyone. Do you know what I mean? And your fears start to unravel as you start to go, well, look, is this really true? And where's the evidence and fact to show that this fear has truth? Because those are the sort of questions you need to ask to crumble the foundations of your fears. So identify the fear first and then look for the evidence or fact to support that fear. And more than likely, it just doesn't exist.
And sometimes it might exist, right? So my evidence was that it was just a howler the first time. So,
you'd have to describe, what's a howler?
A howler just means it was awful. When I watched the playback, I was pretty much communicating with dolphins because my voice had gone so high pitched.
Yeah.
My face was making all kinds of funny shapes, right? But my evidence was that, Caroline, that doesn't look professional.
Yeah.
But actually, we've been talking a lot about authenticity. So can you share a bit more around that and the vulnerability? And because I know now that's made a massive difference for me. And I'm just looking off screen. I'm not ignoring you. It's just I can see all my comments here. And by the way, Robin, it's lovely to have you here. And I've got some more comments, so I should read them out as we go. But yeah, if you could cover that for us, that'd be great.
No problem. Well, it's lovely to hear, just using you as an example, you describe your first video as a howler and that you didn't look professional. I mean, you're the only judge. You're the only one judge at this point. And the worst judges of our own Facebook Live videos. And we're certainly not the most objective judges. We look with the most critical eyes. There is no troll out there who will be as bad to ourselves as we will be. Certainly at the outset, don't sound good enough. I could have said that better. Oh my God, my hair looks like crap. What am I doing with my makeup? I don't sound confident. And this is all our own limiting beliefs. You go, where's the proof that that is true? Who else is saying this? And even if they do say it, who cares? So it's really about being able to take a step back objectively and put perfection aside, because one, perfection does not exist. And if you're aspiring to be perfect on a Facebook Live, well, then just don't bother, give up now, because you won't get there. And the most effective and engaging videos are those that are done authentically through conversation. I find people try to be like newscasters when they're doing their first video lives because their only point of reference really is watching television and what TV presenters are like. And we don't all sit and talk like this and clasp our hands in a certain way and sit with our shoulder pads on. That's not real life. Facebook is particularly live. It represents how we are authentically, how we actually speak. Like, I don't worry anymore, although I did certainly about my stutters or not getting my words out perfectly, but that's me and that's how I speak. I can't change my Irish accent, not that I would, but it's part of who I am. And it's actually part of what people actually say, that they like listening to me because of my accent. So I use how I like to speak, and I show up without that desire for perfection, but knowing that the people who are going to get me will get me, the people who won't, and they're probably not my ideal customer anyway, so it really doesn't matter. The people that will enjoy how I speak or enjoy my content are my customers, and those are the only people I'm worried about being authentic with and communicating with. Most people will find me, frankly, really annoying, which I think is hilarious. It's an added joy to doing Facebook Lives. You actually get to annoy some people.
I'm sure that's not true. And Moritz has just said he remembers being the best newscaster on Facebook. And I guess that's what I was trying to do. I remember having these prompt cards that was sat behind my screen, and I was just kept looking off all the time, looking off. And now I've learned, we were talking about this yesterday, weren't we, about the fact that I'm a visual thinker.
Yeah.
So sometimes it looks like I'm not really paying attention or I'm not thinking about my audience, and I really am. But when I'm thinking, I tend to go up there because of the whole visuals. So now I just embrace the fact that actually that's okay. Yeah. Because I would do it in a room. You know, I have no worries about standing on a stage in front of 400, 1,000 people. I have no worries standing in front of an audience in a classroom teaching when I'm. But there's just that whole feedback of you can't normally see yourself. On Facebook Live, you kind of see, you see everything, walks and alls, you know, like, is that a spot? So now we know that actually it's okay to be vulnerable, and we know that we can ask ourselves about our fears, and we can, but what happens if the fear is just too big? What are some exercises that people can do to grow their confidence? Obviously, we've created this group as a safe space, and I know the value of that and how much it made a difference to me. And I still want to invite everybody where possible. If you're worried about going live, just do it in the group. It's such a safe space to do it. We're all here cheerleading you on. But what is it that what is it if you feel like it's just too big a task? How can you break that down and make it possible?
I think one, recognizing that you feel it's too big, and what that fear, again, going back to, well, what's stopping me? Asking yourself, what's the worst that can happen if I did do it? And if the worst actually happened, would anybody die? You know, sometimes you have to, I like embracing the fear and do it anyway. Sometimes, particularly, I know your audience are a lot of entrepreneurs. In your business, to be successful, sometimes you're going to have to do things that just feel totally uncomfortable. And you would prefer to do anything but that task. And it's not like there's always a silver bullet. Sometimes you just have to put your big girl's panties on and press that face. Exactly. Press that button and just do it anyway and see what happens. I love your group to get practice, because if you're not feeling that brave to go ahead and do it anyway, practice makes perfect, particularly with presentations and public speaking. You know, getting your message right, deciding how you're going to show up. You know, what do you want to look like? What do you want to sound like? And getting feedback from a friendly audience who can go, you sound brilliant, which is more than likely what you're going to hear. Or you could try positioning this way, or your tone, you could sort of breathe a little bit and you'll sound more like yourself rather than, come on, I'm really excited and you're talking way up here. So I would say practice in a safe environment where you can get feedback from people you trust, which is super important. Don't be taking feedback from people who are not interested in doing Facebook Lives themselves, because they're not putting themselves in the position you are, so they don't get permission to give you any feedback. Only take feedback from people who are going to be as brave as you are, understand where you are because they're feeling it too, and surround yourselves by those kinds of people to help you move forward.
Such important advice. So yeah, such important advice. And of course with the trolls, I mean, I've been lucky yet not to get any trolls on my Facebook Lives, but I've definitely had trolls on Twitter, and I've definitely had trolls on some of my social media stuff, and I just took it to heart. Yeah. And it's just insane. I don't know those people. It really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And so that's a really, really good advice. So when people start to go Facebook Live, the first thing that they're going to do once they've created a title for their Facebook Live and clicked the Go Live button, they're going to get that 3-second countdown that just seems to take an in-breath and is gone.
Yeah.
So what are some things that people can do in that 3 seconds to make sure that when they go live, they've got enough breath to talk, really? Mm-hmm.
So I'll tell you the strategy I use. Smile, second number 3, because you don't want to be starting your video with terrified. Remember to smile, because you can forget to smile, actually, particularly in your new lives when you're nervous and everything shows on your face. Smile, breathe, and remember the first 3 words that you're going to say on your Facebook Live. So if you've done a little bit of rehearsal, as soon as you get the first 3 words out, everything else starts to flow. And you don't want to sort of come on, smile, breathe, and it's because you go blank. So, hi, I'm Dee. Hello, I'm Caroline. Welcome to my, just so having that sort of top of your head, because as soon as you sort of start talking, everything flows. Smile, take a deep breath, and your first 3 words, just repeat them so you're ready to say them.
And another, see, look, it's okay to make mistakes, right?
You are human and normal. It's good to know it. Not a robot or an alien.
I'm just going to put my teeth back in. I remember the first time, not just going live, but actually making it through the performance, because it was definitely a performance, not a conversation, not an audience. And at the end, when it posted to my page and I watched it back, just being so critical, so critical. How is it that people, what would you encourage people to do when they're looking back at their live video for the first time, so that they don't have that critical mindset, so that they're being kind to themselves? Because a lot of us don't have natural kindness to ourselves as our default, do we? We
can be brutal. And it goes back to the point that we will be our biggest critics. And self-criticism can serve us really well in helping us be better. And if you have that level of criticality that you can look objectively and go, okay, I would do this differently or next time, without beating yourself up and getting the whip out, that helps us excel, that kind of criticism. Unfortunately, and like you say, we get too personal about it. We're far too critical. And that really it's not a resourceful behavior, because it only serves to make you feel bad and you don't learn. The great way to look at your Facebook Lives back, your videos back, is one, it's like you're putting a pair of glasses on. Put your I love me glasses on before you watch the video first, because you'll probably watch it a couple of times, and look at it for everything you like about it. What did you do well? What would you do again? What do you feel worked? Look at the positive posts, if there were any posts, and just focus on the positives. Then you can take your curious glasses and look at it through a filter of curiosity rather than criticism, because they're very different. Be curious about where are the opportunities to do something differently. Be curious about how you look, how you sound, what you said. And just with a level of, if I wanted to do this change it up a little bit or make it more applicable to my audience, I think curiosity about where you could improve rather than being critical. Curiosity is far more resourceful and will give you better results.
I love that, putting the glasses on. Because even now, even though I'm confident enough to do them now, I still go sometimes, you didn't quite get that right, or look at the state, like my hair, especially because I'm broadcasting from Gran Canaria. Like when it goes into fluff mode, I'm like, oh my goodness me! But I love that. Put on my I love me glasses. That's my favourite bit of advice so far. And what's Facebook Live? How has it changed your business, Dee? Because like you're flying right now, right? And you have created these awesome communities that I'm really pleased to be a part of. And Facebook Live has just made every single difference to that. Yeah. So how's Facebook Live working for you? How have you seen the difference in your business?
The number one, because I'm a coach, the number one way Facebook Live has changed my business is to allow my customers or potential customers to get to know me better. I am very much what you see is what you get. I'm nothing other than myself. I've tried it. It's too hard. And for me to be able to really position my services, because not everybody wants a coach, not everybody understands what coaching is, not everyone believes that they even need a coach, which is fabulous. So there's a lot of education that needs to happen in the industry space that I work in order for anybody even to be interested in my product. So the best way for me to pique someone's curiosity is to get out in front of them, show them who I am, talk about what I do and the kind of people that I work with. And being able, I think just for how people operate and make their decisions, Facebook Live is brilliant because you can see me, because if you're a visual person, you're going to want to, what does she look like? If you're auditory, you can hear how I sound. If you're kinesthetic, you get to experience me a little bit. or if you're one of those very cerebral people, you can sort of judge me on my content and knowledge and ability. So Facebook and videos give your potential customers a way to analyze and judge, I suppose, a little bit if you're the right person for them. And that does it in a way that email can't, that a marketing poster can't. So it's the most effective way for customers to be able to select you or opt out, which means I don't waste my time selling to people who would never be interested in working with me, but I can build a really easy community of people who like me, like what I have to say, and are interested in my services.
And that's so important. The point you made about the people who are most likely to do business with me. I watch a lot of Facebook Lives, from a curiosity point of view, what's going on out there? How can I make myself better? What are they doing that I like? I like that. I like what they said there.
Yeah.
But I still see so many people trying to appeal to every single audience. Mm-hmm. And I used to fear that people didn't like me.
I love you, Caroline.
And now it really doesn't matter, because it is the people that show up that will, and show up to your lives and show up in your group and answer in your group. And they're the ones that you want to be doing business with, aren't they? It's not the ones that are being a pain in the butt, because they're always going to be a pain in the butt, right? If you take on a customer like that, you're just going to get saddled with them for a long time.
Life is far too short to be dealing with customers who don't like you. And I have learned over time, I wanted to be loved by everyone and have everyone be my customer when I was young and naive and didn't have a clue. And now I feel empowered when actually I'm approached by someone who I know is not right for me, and I say, no, my program isn't right for you. I feel good about that now. So I've come a long way, and that takes a little bit of, I suppose, time to build your confidence in what you do and who you are right for, but also who's right for you. Because I often see small businesses, so ambitious and so focused on results that they sell to anybody, and they're not protective enough of themselves, because some customers can be really annoying and they can suck up all your time and energy. I don't believe the customer is always right at all. They may think they are, and I'm happy to let them think they are, but they're not always right. And not everyone is right for me. My tribe, my detoxers fit a very distinct profile. Love learning, very self-aware of their own areas to improve, have great personalities. They are kind and supportive of others. They also tend to be very self-critical, which for me is an indicator of a high performer. So I know who I want. I don't want to deal with people who already have their shit together and feel they can't improve, because I wouldn't be able to offer them anything anyway.
So for those in the group who are not coaches, these are people who maybe sell their services. These are people who maybe sell products. So we've got a really good, healthy split actually of people who are selling to businesses and people who are selling to consumers, and especially in the consumer space. So we're kind of going off Facebook Live now, but you know what we like. We always go off at a tangent somewhere along the line.
Excellent.
And those selling to consumers find it hard to say no. Find it harder, because of course the consumer just expects that there's a service available and therefore they can buy. Whereas at least in business we can say our product doesn't, or our service doesn't match your needs.
Yeah.
It's much harder to say that in a consumer space.
It is.
And if you're an events organizer, or if you're a caterer, or if you're a traveling beautician, or sometimes you're going to attract these kind of customers because you take bookings, because you don't actually get a chance to meet them before you do business.
Yeah.
So and this is completely off the record, but it just sparked something. How is it that people can get themselves out of repeat business, if you like? So let's say someone's booked a wedding and they are the bridezilla from hell. Mm-hmm. Or you've gone to do a waxing treatment and you don't feel great in the environment that you're waxing in, or you've made a cake and they're highly critical because what you think is beautiful, someone else may not think is beautiful. So how would you handle that from a fear, rejection, and what practical steps can people take to kind of get out of that situation without damaging reputation? Because reputation,
Great question.
when you're B2C is tough. You know,
Yeah, but reputation with who?
Well, yeah.
So
okay.
I don't care if my customer, if the people who don't want to work with me talk badly about me. So what? I say whatever you like, really. I do care if my ideal customer is bad-mouthing me. So if I take it a step back, it can be a challenge to say no in the consumer environment for sure. However, you have to learn to be able to say it. And if you are struggling to say no to someone, I would go back to what fear are you facing? You know, what's the fear? Are you worried about being rejected? Are you worried about whatever? So look at the fear and look for the evidence or lack of. You can do simple things. So I put in a registration form before anyone can even approach me to do it, the detox, for example. And I ask very simple questions to check if they're my ideal customer or not and how committed they are. And you can make it very simple. You can put a little form together or a little email together asking some questions which help you filter out the time wasters, the people who are not serious, and the people who you really maybe don't want to work with. And you can do that very politely. If you put your little marketing hat on and go, I ask these questions of all my customers because I want to make sure you're 100% happy. Customer experience is very important in my business. And I've recognized from my years of experience that I'm not everybody's cup of tea and you may not be mine. So let's make sure we enjoy our tea together by answering these few questions. If for some reason I feel you're not a right fit, please understand I have your interests at heart, and maybe I'll make a suggestion just for someone else who may better meet your needs, or maybe we can work together in the future, just off the top of my head. So you can position it as a way of outstanding customer experience rather than a no, hell no, I don't want to work with you. Does that make sense?
I must admit, yeah, completely. And it's easy to go into the latter, right? Because then you go into almost self-defense mode of, well, I'm worth more than that. So, and also in the consumer space, there's a whole thing around pricing. And now we're completely off topic, but I do feel it's still important because when people are on their Facebook lives and they're communicating, these are the kind of messages that they need to be communicating in some way during it, so that they show, if it's product-based, make sure people can see the product. If it's service-based, make sure people can see you, but remember that you have the choice to say no. And now I've completely gone off track again. No, it'll come back to me. So I just wondered if anyone's got any questions, actually, because we've got quite a few people watching live. I've had a lovely comment from Robin, who says, Dee has such fantastic energy and is so engaging, and she's loving the connection Robin. And conversation between you both.
Thank you, Robin.
Dee and I have put in plenty of hours practice on conversation over the
last naturally now.
While. So I just wonder if anyone's got any questions. We've got about a 10-second time lag. So is there anything else that you feel, Dee, with regard to Facebook Live and overcoming fear and anything else that will just help people to say, right, I'm going to give it a go?
Okay. I think one other thing you could ask you in terms of questions is, what will it cost you if you don't do it?
Brilliant question.
Because even if you identify a fear and it doesn't have any evidence, but it still terrifies you, and you still maybe don't have the confidence to take the action that you want, ask yourself, what's going to cost me to not do this? Because there will be a cost of your inaction, and that may be not making the sales that you want, not getting the revenue that you want, not getting the reach that you want, or the brand exposure. So certainly you can choose to do nothing, and many people do, but there will be a cost if you decide to not do anything. So are you okay with the cost of inaction?
I love that. I love that so much. And that can also go back to self-sabotage, right? And it can go back to the inner critic being really loud.
Yes, absolutely.
Maybe And I'm going to put it out there. I didn't think that I deserved success.
Mm-hmm.
So I've said it now, so everyone can go, well, actually, I might give it a go then. I might give it a go. Yeah. So we've got Alistair asked a question, and he said, what are your thoughts on reusing the broadcasts to Google, YouTube and the like?
I'd say, why not? If you can repurpose your content as much as you can, Alistair, if it's right for your audience or right for whatever goal you have, I repurpose as much as my content as I possibly can. So whether that's in my Facebook groups, in YouTube, on Twitter, the whole shebang, or even transcribing some of the text out of the videos and using them as quotes on my Facebook page. I think being on Facebook Live all the time can be very time intensive in terms of what am I going to talk about and all the content that can need to be developed. So using it in as many ways as you can, big thumbs up. Why not?
And I guess for that as well, it's and one other thing to consider is the content that you're. Gary, I know I've said this before, but Gary Vaynerchuk says, don't create content, just document.
Yeah.
Because you can talk about what's happening every day in your everyday life, in your everyday business life, to find something to talk about, right? So, but often, and especially in Alistair's case, he runs a first aid training company.
Okay.
So when he's going live, Alistair, I don't know if you've thought about this, but not only are you creating content there and then, but you're actually creating content for a potential online training course.
Absolutely.
So it's not just Google, it's not just YouTube, it's not just Twitter. It's definitely the opportunity for some online training content there. Maybe that you could use as a lead magnet. So if someone's considering, remember there's the 3 stages of the marketing. First one is awareness, second one is consideration, third one is conversion. So your awareness is just by you going live on Facebook, but your consideration is all around like, no trust. So if it's that you're just doing a quick demonstration, it could be that ends up being something that you give away for free to entice people to sign up to a list, so that they're self-qualifying themselves to become your prospective customer. And then you can take them onto email to do the conversion part, which is essentially inviting them to come and join one of your training courses. So that's definitely something worth thinking about. Alistair says that's one of the reasons we're exploring using YouTube and signposting the clips via our app.
Brilliant.
Definitely, really great idea. And I do just want to reiterate why we're making this all about Facebook Live, and we have no doubt in time. We heard from Hugo last week that Meerkat was massive in live broadcast straight away, and one of his first broadcasts was he broadcast the fish tank with music. And it got ridiculous amounts of live views. Okay, we're not talking about doing that now, but I have no doubt that in the future it won't just be Facebook Live. There'll be something else that will come out. But we're just talking about Facebook Live today. The reason for that and the benefit of using Facebook Live is if you're broadcasting from your page, or if you're broadcasting from your own personal profile, or even if you're broadcasting in your group, Facebook have given live videos whilst they're broadcasting priority in the newsfeed. So, and we saw from Katie, who shared in the group before, that she's got about 1,000 people on her page and was regularly reaching, and Katie, I probably got that wrong, I think it was more like 1,200. So I know you've done a great job building your page. But I remember you saying that you normally reach about 300, and yet you'd actually reached even more people than actually like your page, because your friends were commenting, and so even more people were coming to watch it. So that's the benefit, and that's why we're suggesting Facebook Live and live broadcast and conquering that fear. And I guess the other thing I want to add to that is that I suffer with perfectionism, right? And some of that's still related to fears. So if you're trying to record videos just for training or just for content, you go back over that and you look at it, go, right, now I need to film that again, I need to film that again, I need to film that again. And Dee and I are actually in the process of creating a course at the moment. It's called Live Video Success. And I'm actually recording a lot of my videos in a secret Facebook group that you can't see, because I know I do it better live. And then I don't have to deal with all that perfectionism, and I don't have to deal with so much editing. People get to see the real me, and therefore it's much, much easier. So that's why we're talking about Facebook Live. Cherry says, thank you, ladies. This is super helpful, very practical advice. I think I'll get my kisser out there soon, yikes. I look forward to that, Cherry. Thanks for commenting. And please, please remember to feel free to use the group. It's absolutely a safe space for broadcasting. So have we got any more questions? I'm just going to check because there's a slight time lag. No, I think that's covered everything. So I'm just going to give any more questions, guys. Oh, here we are. We've got more questions now. They've all just appeared. So Moritz asked, more of a tech question. What software are you using right now to broadcast this? So we're actually using BeLive right now, Moritz. It does have its glitches. I've been caught out with that. It does need really good internet connection. So they recommend at least 10 meg up and downstream. And I know, Dee, when you gave it a try after my suggestion, it was silent, wasn't it?
It was silent. After 4 years of doing Facebook Lives, its technology can still totally knock you off your feet. Yeah, it was silent, but then I just went back to my phone and I did the Facebook Live from there.
So what we'd recommend, Moritz, is setting up a secret Facebook group where if you want to go dual screen. So with BeLive, you've got 3 ways of broadcasting. Number one is just the same as you would from your phone, but you're doing it via BeLive. So you can put your names up, or you can put a little logo up in the top corner. The second way is the face-to-face interview like this. And then there's a third way, which is in training mode, and you can actually share your screen. So it is worth having a go if you want to be doing way more than just, one-way streaming. There is a time lag. However, this has been the most robust one we've tested, but really it is about practice the day before, or at least run a trial session with your speaker if you've got guests, or even yourself before you go live. So we've got another question from Rob, and I'm just going to censor this just to check because we know what he's like. Here we go. Good question, Rob, really good question. If you go blank mid-sentence or after the countdown and you have said hello and stared down the camera with nothing to say and you can't think of the words, the screen looks frozen as there is no movement or speech. I'm guessing just to keep doing it and it will improve.
Great question.
The whole blank.
I would just smile, buy yourself some time. We can go blank. It does happen. It's totally normal, but it's amazing. You don't have to be using words in constant flow all the time to keep someone engaged, because in normal conversation, there are pauses. And in some conversations, people pause for a very long time, depending on your style. So actually, you may be the only person who's realized you've blanked. You can't presume that the audience know exactly what's going on inside your head because they're not mind readers. So what I do is be ready for what you would say if you did blank. So, and it could be, make fun with it. Hold on a second, there's a magic idea coming into my head. I just need to process. Give me 2 seconds. Yeah, and you get your time back. So a little bit of filler, and using your sense of humor and being honest, going, oh my God, my genius has just left me for 2 seconds, out of body experience. Hold on, I haven't left, hold on, and come back. So play with it. People are very forgiving and very empathetic. They're not going to judge you because you've had a blank or even with a technology problem. As long as you show some level of confidence and self-awareness, people will forgive you anything.
And I have to say, as a female who loves to talk, I've always been scared of silence. Mm-hmm. I am actually getting better at it, although I think Rob might struggle to believe that. Rob says, this has been brilliant. Lots of useful and practical information that's easy to implement.
Thank you, Rob.
And Robin, oh wow, as you know, Caroline, I've got to be the master at invisibility. But you definitely tickled my curiosity and inspired me to give it a try. Yay!
Fabulous.
And Moritz says, you guys did a great job. Both, thank you so much. So I think we've come to the end of the questions. Dee, thank you so much for sharing with the group. And thank you so much for just basically kicking my backside to make it happen.
I will do it anytime. I may do it even when you don't need it.
And and I think that brings us to a close. So I hope you all have the rest of a great Tuesday wherever you are. And Dee, thank you once again.
Very
and
welcome.
I'll speak to you all soon. Take care.